When God says choose life, does that mean God supports and God is on the side of pro-choice?
We must face the moment of truth, baby.
Let's get into it here at 180 Truth. Thanks for being here at 180 Truth. Continue to support the channel by going to simplyaviance.com. Use discount code 180 Truth to get 25% off fresh new drip. Get some fresh new merch. Support the channel, and orders of $100 or more, it is free shipping. Go ahead to simplyaviance.com. God bless. Family, welcome back to 180 Truth.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
My name is Dr. Honorio Chaparro. Please hit like, subscribe, hit that comment right there. What do you think? Have you heard it used by preachers, teachers, well-meaning Christians when they say God gave us choice? Choose life. Do you know what passage they're referring to? Well, we're going to get into it right here. Once again, please hit like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I want to talk to you today about a particular passage of scripture that I just don't think is being rightly used and interpreted concerning the issue of pro-choice, pro-life. And I'm talking about, it's a word that starts with A, rhymes with smushmortion. You know what it is. If you say it on the social media stuff, you get canceled, you get put into the oblivion, your channel gets buried. So I just want to talk to you because I feel like this passage, I think it's getting abused, regardless of whatever the election outcome might be, regardless of where you stand on the issue. That's just it. If you claim to be a Christian and you're using this verse to justify being pro-choice, I'm just going to recommend that you actually start looking for another passage. In fact, I'm going to recommend that you actually start reading the Bible more. Why? Because I think you're missing some things. And I'm not saying, you don't have a right to have an argument for being pro-choice. I'm just saying I think you're abusing that scripture. Let's take a look here right now. So the passage that we're referring to is in Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19, where Moses is saying, I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that I've set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore, choose life, that you and your offspring may live, loving the Lord your God, obeying his voice, and holding fast to him. For he is your life and length of days, that you may dwell in the land that the Lord swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them. So God gives us choice, but God gives us commandments. And ironically, it says, choose life that you and your offspring may live. That's interesting because for the Christian, life begins at conception. In fact, the truth be told, this entire passage, as we move ahead, see that I set before you today life and death, life and good, death and evil. If you obey the commandments of the Lord your God that I command you today, by loving the Lord your God, by walking in his ways, and by keeping his commandments and his statutes and his rules, then you shall live and multiply, and the Lord your God will bless you in the land that you are entering to take possession of it. Wow. So if you go through it, the choice of life and death really isn't a choice. It's kind of like saying to somebody, hey, I'm going to lay before you a choice. You can have $1 million or not have $1 million. Why would you not choose the $1 million? Yeah, you may say, well, there are strings attached and so on, but even more so here, God is laying before them commandments for them to obey. So how can you use this passage to say and make an argument for pro-choice? There is no choice. If you're a Christian and you believe that life begins at conception, then you're believing what the scriptures teach. And you're also saying that there is no choice. There's no valid choice to use a medical procedure as a form of birth control. Now, yeah, some people are going to push back. And what about violations to the person and other kinds of things that are violence? But that's not the issue. The reality of it is that, and this is hard because I think the stats are 1 in 4 women in our congregations have had made that medical decision at some point for various reasons. And that's grieving, that's hurtful. And I don't want to condemn women who've made that choice. I've also made choices in my life that were sinful, and I've repented of them. Have you? I've needed the Lord to heal me from those choices. Has the Lord healed you? So you just can't use this verse as a place for being pro-choice. God gave, for instance, the command, don't steal, don't commit adultery. They're called the 10 commandments, not the 10 options, not the 10 opinions, not the 10 choices. They're called the 10 commandments. Now, you can choose to violate, you can choose to steal, you can choose to commit adultery, but there are consequences, repercussions. There are blessings and curses. There's life, there's death. So just wanted to highlight to you that no matter how you cut it, this passage has absolutely nothing to do with being pro-choice. There's nothing else that can be said about it. Again, the scriptures are clear. God is laying before them the options, but he's saying, choose life. But he also had other commandments. Don't steal, don't commit adultery. And when people chose to do that, there were consequences. And the entire thing about this blessing and cursing is so that they and their children could live. And the warnings in the scriptures with the blessing and the cursing have to do with a nation. An entire nation that would choose death is choosing a curse, to disobey God, opening the door to consequences for their sins. Not even God's punishment, but just the consequences that come, the curses that we open the door to, especially when we sin against God by violating the image of God in others. And when we talk about the least of these, when we talk about those that need a voice to speak up for them, how much more the unborn? And how twisted it is that we would say that it's a choice to actually use that as a form of just birth control. And that is shameful. That opens the door for curses.
Now you know the truth.
I just wanted to make it plain to somebody out there that when you look at that scripture, there's no way you can use that scripture or anything in the book of Deuteronomy. Very little in scripture that I can think of to justify pro-choice. I'm not saying that medical procedure doesn't have a place. I'm not saying that you can't argue for saving the life of the mother. I'm not saying that at all. And I'm not here to condemn the women that are watching that have gone through that. But I simply wanted to offer this corrective. If you look at the scripture for what it says for itself, you can read it plainly. Choose life. Leave a comment. Please hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I'm sure I've made even some of my followers upset with this one. I don't mean to. I just wanted to say, if you're going to make that argument, find another argument, find another point in scripture. Because simply telling us and telling others that God gave us free will, or God gave us a capacity, an ability to make choices. Yeah, but he also gave us clear commandments. And with those commandments, there are consequences for breaking them. And there are consequences on a national level for breaking the commandments and hurting children. God bless you. God keep you. Thank you for being here at 180 Truth.